We have a literature analysis report today, and we will examine the phenomena of translations in modern world, especially those who are writing in foreign language, and then that work is translated back to the regional languages. So this is a sort of a to and fro movement. While we generally emphasize the translation of international works into the regional languages, so here comes that uh, theoretical understanding, especially that has emerged after colonialism, post-colonial literature, that what nuances uh, can be accepted in that international idiom. We will detail look into it, and we will see that how uh, this phenomena occurs and what are its implications today. Uh, so be with us. Thank you. I will begin with the literature analysis report. It's a statement in my work. I favor global trend, language, and themes because individuals tend to be overly protective and anxious of their identities, making personal projections undesirable. So this is a statement. This is basically my understanding that when you are writing in regional languages, especially when you don't belong there, or even when you belong there, so people are protective of their identity. Uh, and also saying that they also tend to be envious even. So we begin with the author profile. Dr. Sadiqullah Khan Wazir is a distinguished contemporary author and scholar who navigates the intersection of regional heritage and global discourse. Despite a deep rooted connection to his local linguistic tradition, Dr. Wazir purposefully reflects and selects English as his primary medium for creative expression. The choice refers a commitment to linguistic universalism, utilizing a bridge language to explore human experiences that transcend geographical and ethnic boundaries. The resonance of his work is highlighted by the translation of his two major books from Sindhi and Pashto into Sindhi and Pashto. In fact, basically, I had written the two books in English, and my style of writing has been uh, not specifically to pick the title first or the language first. I keep on writing, and when that word is put together, whether that is on the basis of my geographical location or whether it is thematic, that can be given a title. Almost all of my books have their titles like that. From poem, and I have relished and really enjoyed that journey throughout. So here is my work of demonstrating how universal themes can be reintegrated into specific cultural context without losing their global uh, relevance. Uh, so, in the analytical framework, the protectiveness noted by Dr. Wazir's aligns with contemporary critique of identity politics. The defense of identity, the psychological fence, title here of this report. Francis Fukuyama in Identity, the demand for dignity and politics of resentment, describes how modern quest for recognition often devolves into particularism, describes how the modern quest for recognition often devolves into particularism, the guarding of specific group traits. This often leads to what Dr. Wazir identifies as envy and defensiveness. This is a basically a generalized phenomenon. Francis Fukuyama has also mentioned this particularism. But I have felt that whenever I've been talking of my own language, even if it's my own Waziri language or my own identity, so there is some sort of resistance to that. Maybe that particularism is because that the group psychology thinks that I do not belong there by my appearance or language. And they think that I do not qualify to be representing them. So here we enter into a sort of dilemma because you need a universal language. So then, how to take up the matters and issues up to an audience, and then also have to consider that do we only need audience, or is it that we only want to be heard? So there are various layers of explanation to this as well. The first thing, in my opinion, is that we have to resist erasure. So when we are not in that global eye, in that global vision, there is more likelihood that we are erased. The second point is that since those uh, those communities, those marginalized communities who are struggling for their lives, for their existence, and who are subjected to certain kind of violence that with the passage of time they forget their own identity, they are scattered. So here comes that human aspect of it. So basically this is a study into humanities. It is not simply that someone should be heard internationally. The last aspect of it is that possibly there may be some policy change towards that because global issues are so many that for any particular community or any particular ethnicity that exist, it may not be possible for them to be really understood and heard. So this paper further says that this often leads to what Dr. Wazir's identify as envies and defensiveness. Here we are faced with another situation. We are faced with some sort of resistance And this resistance is not only in case of literature or in case of expression. The resistance also is to educate, to build infrastructure, to penetrate that society, the closed societies particularly. Similarly, Amartya Sen warns in Identity and Violence Against Singular Affiliation, where reducing a person to a single identity marker creates friction with the other. The case of globalism, a shared language, uh, favoring global trend by Dr. Wazir, he adopts a cosmopolitan perspective. Kawame Anthony Appiah, he's a Ghanaian scholar. He has written a lot about this phenomena, and what I see is that, particularly from Africa, there had been a lot of uh, quite an input on this phenomena. And when we look at South Asia, Southeast Asia, or Southwest Asia, so we don't see that intellectually people are, or institutions are generally that much conscious of phenomena of colonialism or the post-colonialism and the continuity of colonialism. Post-colonialism is a different subject, and then there had been a lot of terminology like neo-colonialism, marginalized societies on the margin, the capital, control through the capital, control through the elite owned country, who are then further controlled by the capital center. So that's a kind of phenomena, and it's not only economic or economic exploitation. So here we have that challenge of not economy, it is the challenge of identity as well. Because when that identity is lost, when that connection to history is lost, when that culture is lost, well, by culture, I don't mean that we should be holding on to some archaic traditions. They have to evolve, they must evolve in any case. Here goes Kawame Anthony Appiah in Cosmopolitanism, Ethics in a World of Strangers, that shared global values and conversation are essential for peaceful coexistence. Here he attaches a value to it of a peaceful coexistence. He necessitates this phenomena not as a sort of an expression itself, but in fact, he says that it is necessary for peace and for coexistence. English in this context acts as a lingua franca. This parallels the works of the authors like Kazuo Ishiguro, who often strips away specific national markers to allow themes of memory and humanity to speak to a worldwide audience without the baggage of personal projection. That's, I would say, Kazuo Ishiguro is one of my favorite writers. He gives a beautiful narrative of international phenomena. He has also been awarded Nobel Prize. And here, the example of him as not uh, holding the baggage of personal projection and then going for uh, international audience, specific national markers. So it's not for specific. So here we have to go for sort of a balance. Should we be holding on to specific national markers? Like, for example, in case of Pashto, I'll say that the debate still is going on that who Pashtuns were, where from they came, here and sister. This is the debate of this last 1 century. And the other debate is that is Pashtuns able to generate or create a civilization? This is another question. As if civilization was something that would be made consciously. Civilizations have its own markers which go far beyond regional identity. That needs a cosmopolitan projection, and that goes with the ideas. The danger of projection, anti-subjective turn. Dr. Wazir's aversion to personal projections mirrors T.S. Eliot's impersonal theory of poetry. Eliot argued that the artist must undergo a continual extinction of personality to create truly significant art. When an author projects their specific identity too forcefully, the work becomes a closed circle. When an author projects their specific identity too forcefully, the work becomes a closed circuit. By looking outward toward global themes, the creator transforms the work from a private mirror to a public window. Conclusion. Now we see that how and what methodology is being adopted. So here from uh, my paper of writing from the global south, the power of back translation. The choice to write in a global language like English while originating from the global south, as seen in the work of Dr. Sadiqullah Wazir, creates a dynamic interplay between local roots and international reach. Now let's look at it how it works. The global south and the bridge language. For many authors in the global south, English serves as a lingua franca, a bridge that allows diverse regional identities to communicate on a common platform. By choosing this medium, Dr. Wazir can explore global trends, identities to communicate on common platforms. Themes that resonate with readers across the world, bypassing the protective and envious boundaries that sometimes isolate specific local identities. So here, how that is done, that when you basically go lingua franca, and as the times are that it is quite easy now to translate the work, and it is as easy that just going through some offers of apps, AI, that you just have to put in a word there, whether that is a spoken word or word. Then you specify the language, and then So, for example, if there is English text and you want to hear that, then it is spoken in that language, the language you want, whether that's Pashto or Urdu or any other language. And if you want to have a transcript of that, so then it is available to you. You can even have a journal ready paper for it. So things are basically made that easy when it comes to translations to and fro, translation from the regional languages and then translation we call as lingua franca, international language. Uh, the power of back translation. This is important and say that this works back translation, which means that a unique aspect of Dr. Wazir's journey is that his work, originally written in English, has been translated into Sindhi and Pashto. This creates a powerful cycle expansion. The idea move outward into the global sphere through English. Idea move outward into the global sphere through English. Integration. The idea return original language, allowing them to be reinterpreted through local lenses. This process demonstrates that global language does not have to erase local identity. Instead, it can provide a framework for local stories to gain universal. This is, I had been saying. Here, the only danger lies that the language, the regional language, alphabet, idiom, the writing, the grammar, that is lost. And other aspect is that creative thinking, it is said that it's always in mother tongue. I don't know how is that done from ecology expert to speak about it. So if someone's thinking creatively in mother tongue and then cannot write in lingua franca, has not had that education, then that is a separate exploration into the subject. Let's explore this further. Which of these areas would we like to look at next? Linguistic hybridity. How authors from the global south bend English to reflect their own cultural nuances. The politics of translation. The challenges and triumphs of moving ideas from a global language back into regional languages like Pashto or Sindhi. Universal themes of local contexts. Examples how global trends like environmentalism or human rights are explored in Dr. Wazir's specific regions. Well, to sum up, this was a comprehensive report on the philosophy of Dr. Sadiqullah Khan. It's an overview of the report that this document synthesizes the three core pillars we discussed: framed within the context of Dr. Wazir's professional choice to write in English. The defense of identity explores the envy and protectiveness of identity through the lens of Francis Fukuyama and Amartya Sen. The cause for globalization connects Dr. Wazir's use of global language to Kwame Anthony Appiah's cosmopolitanism and the universal themes found in the works of Kazao Ishiguro. The danger of projection analyzes the undesirability of personal projection using T.S. Eliot's impersonal theory of poetry. So here there is a small query. As you review this section on linguistic universalism, do you think Dr. Wazir tries to have his work translated back into regional languages like Pashto and Sindhi suggests that global themes are the best way to preserve local identities, or do they inevitably transform? For this last query, I personally have no opinion. Rather, I would say that, well, all our major thinking is done in English. If we are specific to language, there is no harm in writing literature in English. That phenomena, what has happened, that those who are educated in the Western tradition or in the modern tradition or in modern educational methodology, they don't tend to be creative in their work. So the language is basically, or the intellect is reduced to what I call as verbocrap, just the official language, the things which are being written on the files, summaries, the reports, or maybe some sort of journalism. It never translates into creative works. And here, if we are talking of the regions, so Africa has been more fertile just across Africa. Great writers, they have been through such barriers. So there was a lot of talk of colonialism, post-colonialism, language preservation, and they are navigating through that. We have some good writers that way in fiction. The writers, they are not based in that global south. They are basically writing from UK or US or from other countries, and they are more facilitated in their reach as compared to the writers who are struggling to be known and heard, who represent a marginalized. Thank you for being with me. I would like your feedback on my discussion.